Hey, welcome back to a Craig's Home Brew review. Today I have a special one. This baby is a chocolate cherry stout, a recipe that was produced and made by these guys, DIY Home Brew Supply. And if you didn't see the making of this beer, there's a link down below to me making it and another link down below to the original video of this being made, which is from Terp's Korean Kid and his wife, Nikki. So this is Nikki's recipe. And the story behind this is in the making of the video, and you can find it on their video as well. It was a comeuppance to a comment she received about being a female and working in a homebrew supply store, which they own. So that is good enough for me. I'm excited to try this beer that has had passion put into it and has purpose and meaning, and give it a whirl. Yes. Okay, I have tasted this before because when I kegged it, I actually gave it a taste just to see what we've got. The part you didn't see of the making of it is when I actually added the cherry extract to the keg before I kegged the beer. So that's how the cherry extract got in there. I did it when I kegged it. Normally when you bottle the beer, you would add it to a secondary or a bottling bucket and then bottle the beer, but I just simply added it to the keg and then proceeded on kegging it, chilling it, carbonating it, letting it sit for a few days. I did taste it. It was good, okay? But it's been sitting for a couple weeks now, and I can't wait any longer, okay? It'll age a little more, but I'm ready to go with this. So let's give this a nose. Can't get much through the foam. Definitely smell that cherry extract. And if I was blind, I would be able to tell it was a stout just from the nose. It looks ridiculously awesome. Look at that beautiful beige colored. You're not going to see anything. I mean, you're not going to see anything. There's no doubt. Here's a rhyme for you. There's no doubt it's a stout. I have not tasted this in about a week and a half. So I'm excited. This was a long time in the making. Let's see if it's worth its time. Cheers. Okay, I have to calm down. Breathe. Breathe. Okay. I can definitely taste that it's a stout. It has the characteristics of a stout, the mouthfeel, the flavor, the dark flavor of it, the roastiness. It has the look of a stout. Obviously you saw you can't shine a light through it, so it's definitely a stout. Is it a cherry chocolate stout or a chocolate cherry stout? Yes, it is. And it doesn't hold a heavy hand to the cherry or the chocolate flavor, although chocolate's fairly strong. See, the cocoa nibs I put in were not very sweet. They were more like baker's chocolate, if you excuse my burps here because it's carbonated. So it's a very bitter chocolate, not very sweet, but it holds hands well with the sweetness that the malt offers. And they chose a yeast, I feel that they chose a yeast that allows a little bit of the sweetness from the malt to stay in the beer. So it's not like a really dry beer to begin with. And then the chocolate malt, the chocolate malt, I'm sure they put that in there, and the chocolate nibs or the cocoa nibs layer on top of that and borrow from the sweetness from the malt gives it a nice, natural, chocolatey flavor without it being sticky on the palate and without it being too sweet. So that's the first thing I'm getting. Let's give this another whirl. Cherry. Okay, this is not a fruit beer. So don't picture it as a cherry flavored beer. It is not. I actually added more cherry extract than they suggested, and it's still very mild, but it's a layer of flavor. The cherry is a layer of flavor on top of what I just described earlier, and it's an extra. It's a bonus. It's like a little bit of icing on the cake. It has that nice hint, that nice, well, note, I guess, as they say, or dimension of a fruitiness or cherryness that is not too sweet, and it's just that it's got that cherry. You ever eat cherry cheesecake? You know those cherries on top? They look so delectable. Well, this has a very palatable yet subtle hint of cherry, which is perfect. It's exactly what I wanted. I wanted to taste the cherry, but of course I didn't want this to be a cherry stout. I want it to be a stout plus the extra stuff that's in it. Now let's go for the vanilla and see if we can taste any of that. That part of it's not coming out quite as strong. If I didn't know there was vanilla in it, I probably wouldn't be able to tell. So let's let it sit, because it is fridge cold. So I'm going to let this sit for a little while. And while it's sitting, we'll talk a little bit about. I'll hold on to it so you can look at it. It's holding up quite nicely. Beautiful lacing on the glass. The head is sticking around. This beer was a lot of fun to make. It took a while. Beers that take a while tend to taste awesome. And this recipe was, I'm sure it was honed and tried and, tweaked, because there was a real passion behind this. This had to be good. They knew it. And that's what they've done, is they've made it good. These guys own their own home brew supply shop. So I'm sure they've got a little bit of experience, different recipes and whatnot. And I have to say that this is probably the best beer I've made in a long time. All right, this is really very, very good. It deserves a whoa, but we'll do that in a minute, because I'm going to wait for this to warm up. I'm going to give it my full endorsement, if that means anything to anybody. Okay, make this beer. Now, this recipe is exclusive to BIY Homebrew Supply, so go to their website. I'll put a link down below. And look it up and order it. I mean, just, that's the only way you're going to do it. You make this fantastic beer. And now, you have to remember one thing, that this is a big beer. There's a lot that went into this beer. This is a lot of malt, a lot of grains, and the cherry extract and the vanilla bean that went in. Remember that if you go to a beer store or a store to buy a stout, you'd be hard-pressed to find a beer that tastes as good as this. This is comparable to like a St. Peter's Winter Ale or something of, one of my favorite beers in the whole wide world. This is not just a craft beer. This is a crafted beer. When you make this beer, it's definitely going to save you money, and you're going to get a beer that, in my opinion, is competition ready and award worthy. That's just my opinion. It's award worthy. And I would have no problem taking this. I wouldn't do it myself, of course, but maybe Joe and Nikki, his wife, maybe should take this to, somewhere and have it, see if they can get a medal for it or something, because it deserves it. It deserves that. I want to give this a lot of time. I want to get all the different levels of flavor from the different temperatures. Catching some of the cherry now from the nose. And that vanilla is starting to come through. I will quote you something that my son said. I gave my son a little sip of this. Now, he's 18 years old. And so every once in a while I'll take, one of my home brews up to him and say, tell me what you think, and he'll sip it and go, oh, it's a little too bitter, or it's a little bit, I like that one, or whatever. This one here, a very interesting comment came from him. So I took this up to him and I said, hey, I want you to try this beer and tell me what you think. So he took a sip and he said, Dad, that is a very impressive concoction. So there you have it from an 18-year-old who doesn't normally like darker beers or hoppy beers or anything like that, although he's getting there. But it is a very impressive concoction. That's a perfect description to this. It's warmed up a little bit. Let's give it another whirl. Oh yeah. You see now that the vanilla is just there. It just adds. You don't want the vanilla to be like, oh, it's a vanilla beer. Or you don't want the cherry to be, it's a cherry beer. It's a stout with overtones. That, to me, is award-winning beer. And I'm not just saying it, I'm not just saying it. I have a whole keg full of this, or almost a whole keg. And this is probably not going to last very long, because I would like to let some of my neighbors and friends taste it too. And to show them, this is homebrew. I brewed this in my kitchen, and you can do this too. You can do this in your kitchen. You saw the video of me making it. If you didn't, the link's down below. It's as easy as pie. And this is what you can get. So, if you're not a home brewer, if you want to become a home brewer, you can. And it's this easy. Order this, get it, and tell me I'm wrong. There's your challenge. Tell me I'm wrong. Okay? So there you have it. Thank you guys. Thank you BIY and Joe and Nikki and all the rest of their team, whoever is helping them out with their store. You've created a monster. A monster. And I'm proud to taste this beer. And I hope you guys are well. Cheers. And 17. And with this, I'm going to let you guys go. That's all I've got. See ya, and be safe. Oh!